Not every sales page is built to sell, but every landing page should have a job. This is my philosophy on direct response. Direct response doesn't mean gave me money. It could mean they subscribed. It could mean they got warmer because they moved from kind of interested to very interested, and they indicated that to you with something concrete, like clicking a button like, I'd be interested in learning more. So they get put into a new email flow. Maybe they're just watching videos on YouTube and it's like, hey, off to the side are 2 more videos you could watch. You could check out those. Any of those are examples of direct response via my definition of it, which is taking a direct action after being prompted. So I'm a big fan of that version of direct response. Yes, sometimes you have to go for quote unquote the kill, as people would have said it. You have to ask for the sale, man. And there's no getting around from that. But not every page is going to be a big, long sales letter. Sometimes it's going to be a lot shorter. The most important thing is that it works, right? And I always compare making a sale to asking someone to marry you. It's a big commitment. And here's the thing. Some people will tell you not to ask, which is bad advice. You have to ask someone to marry you. You have to ask someone out. I can't tell you how many people are like, oh, it's so rough out there. When's the last time you asked someone out? When's the last time you went in person? I'm not talking about Tinder. Okay. When's the last time that you went out and talked to someone at a coffee shop? And maybe, people are weird about asking people out in their place of business. When's the last time you volunteered for something where women are and hung around them so that they got to know you for a couple of weeks? You showed up with a sterling personality for several weeks and you go, hey, I'd actually like to take this outside of here. When's the last time you did that? No. So again, the big push doesn't have to be, wow, this is my first time seeing you in this coffee shop. I know that you had a long, stressful day and you're probably not in a great mood right now, but I'm going to take you out to coffee. And I know you work in a coffee shop, but more coffee, yes. Yes, sometimes that pitch is okay. I'm not putting that pitch down. That is a pushier pitch. Sometimes your push can be, it can have the better parts of brand marketing, right? You can be around someone. You can increase that proximity and that time spent together that we learned about from the light switch, right? And the duration, and you can increase those things. So, people will tell you if it's meant to be, it'll just happen naturally. Don't listen to them. It's terrible advice. Maybe it will, but like 25% as effectively as it would have otherwise, because we tend to like the formality in the ceremony, right? We like to be wooed. We like to warm up naturally in the amount of time that we would have spent warming up to someone. So you should give your audience that if they're in that position. And you can always test it. Does it work better with this? Maybe not with asking someone to marry you, but with sales pages, right? And the good thing about this format is it's very clear. It's like, what is our goal right now? We're just getting coffee and feeling things out. All right, well, now we're just going on a couple dates to see, if we're compatible and if we like each other. All right, now we're really getting into it. I'd like you to officially be my girlfriend, and let's try this out for a little while. Now we're dating with some serious intention. Excellent. This has gone well. It's been, 6 to 36 months, however fast you move. I think it's time. I love you. Let's enjoy, engage in the holy bond of matrimony and, get married, have lots of kids, good stuff. All right. So in both sales and life, I think I've taken my metaphor too far. In both sales and life, waiting around doesn't get you what you want. The person who waits 8 years to propose is waiting way too long. Or maybe they'll never propose. Or maybe they're waiting to get proposed to. They're getting old and they're like, oh man, is this guy ever going to do anything? And you're like, okay, that's not the way we want to conduct ourselves in life, right? Maybe you don't want to, and you're like, I've spent so much time. I'm not thinking of a particular person, but I've spent so much time waiting on this person and now they haven't done it. And I don't know, I could break up with them, but then I had to start all over and I'm already 8 years in with this person. It's a bad move. You want to make things clear and you want to do things in the appropriate time. So waiting around doesn't get what you want. You need to pop the big question, but you also need to ask at the right time, not too long, not too short, because no matter how important the question is, sometimes it's just too early. And sometimes it's too late. Don't do that either. So don't propose on the first date unless you're looking for a quick exit strategy via the nearest bathroom strategy. So don't propose on the first date unless you're looking for a quick exit strategy via the nearest bathroom window. Probably not advisable. So it's the same with sales. Obviously, I did not make my metaphor very subtle, but You can't just hit people with a sales page. You can't just hit people with a sales page before they're ready. You need to warm them up first. And this is what the other types of landing pages do. Or maybe a bunch of trust is already established. So it would be like going to your girlfriend of 3 years and be like, do you want to go on a coffee date and see how things are going? You're like, what? I've been talking to you for 3 years. Don't do this to me. This is crazy, right? So different landing pages for different times. They build trust, they educate, and they move people closer to the moment where they're saying yes. Ideally, 1,000 times yes. It makes it feel like the only logical choice. And ideally, you're giving this to them, maybe even better than saying that they build trust, they educate, and they move people closer. Because the bottom of funnel page doesn't do that. I mean, it does move them closer, but it looks at what do they need right now, and it gives it to them, which is why your research is so important. Go do your research before you write. And today we're going to talk about how to do that with the different types of pages. All right. So yesterday I promised you the only 7 types of landing pages you really need to know, but I'm actually going to give you them, not just the name of them. We're actually going to talk about them. We're also going to talk about how to capture emails so that you can sell to people forever. The self-liquidating offer that will make you infinitely more money on an offer that starts off as being super low ticket or free. The ultimate warm-up funnels that sell you before you sell. And the secret to writing sales pages for the SPOC and your life. Those bottom of funnel buys for the logical people around you. All right. Which I think we've talked about a little bit before, but we haven't like super practiced it. All right. Writing non-sales letter landing pages. What are they? Squeeze pages. This is to get emails. E-commerce. This is what you see on any Shopify store, on Amazon. It's just like, here's a picture on the left of the thing you want to buy, a headline, a short piece of copy. You can add to cart, change the size, pick the color you want. And yeah, below it, maybe there's some stuff about specifications or details about the product. Maybe there's some reviews or some demonstrations of the product. But I think that the bottom part of the e-commerce page can learn a lot from our sales letters, right? From our 12-gauge landing page in particular. The sales page, what we did yesterday was write something kind of mid-length. You can make a way shorter one. And I think that's important for the sales letter, is especially for an audience that's a little bit more knowledgeable about your brand. Maybe you don't want to hit them so hard. And this is, and the less long sales letter it is, the more it's going to feel like just a modern website. But the intentionality of the structure, the intentionality of the storytelling is still extremely important and overlooked by many modern landing pages and websites. It can also go way longer. So if you have a higher ticket item, particularly something to an audience that is relatively cold on your brand, then you can go longer. I don't think I need to go into that because we talked about how to write long emails. We have those questions you can ask. Let me just go up to that really fast. Long emails. What are the questions we're going to ask? All right. So first of all, you can create open loops in your long thing with all those different strategies. But the questions that you can ask are here. Can I add an example or an analogy? Can I pivot to something similar? Can I pivot to how this made me or someone else feel? Can I pivot to an effect it had? Can I pivot from a story to data or from data to a story? Can I pivot to social proof? Can I pivot to something someone said? Can I pivot to a way that this changed my outlook or life? Can I pivot to highlight a benefit or resolve pain? Can I pivot to my thought process on this? Can I pivot to a bad outcome if action isn't taken? Can I highlight their fears or worst case scenario? If you ask those questions, you can make it longer. So you can look at like my landing page with Aaron and you can ask any of these questions and go, oh yeah, it could probably be like 3 or 4 times this length if I just started adding all those details in, and then I'd have to add a lot of design elements to make it feel natural, but I could do that. I didn't do that. Obviously I already put like 20 hours into this page, but we could do it a lot longer, right? That's the important part. The same thing goes for emails, for pages on how to make it longer and still keep it cohesive, right? There we go. We knocked an entire day's worth of lessons out. Okay. All right. The bottom of funnel landing pages is for the logical buyer. This is for the one who's already dealt with a lot of the emotion. They already know they want something. They already basically know that they want it from your company and not another one. And now it's just to convince them to get over that hump. Or maybe it's between you and someone else, but they're kind of leaning towards you and you're like, I just had to convince them that I'm a little bit better, right? All right. A quiz funnel. Quiz funnels are interesting because quiz funnels are remarkably successful on social media where people aren't ready to buy yet. And you say like, for instance, you see this a lot with personal styling quizzes. Stitch Fix did this for a long time, but you'll see people like mattresses do it too. It's like Stitch Fix is like, it's your personal style quiz, right? And the mattress company is like, find your sleep number, for example, right? Those sorts of things where it feels like you're just like, ooh, what lady from Sex and the City am I? Ooh, I'm such a Samantha. I've been watching some movies. Is it movies? No. It's Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I've been watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine with my wife, and they're talking about Sex and the City. So that's been on my mind. Anyways, the quiz funnel, it feels a little salacious. It feels a little gossipy. But that's good because people are on social media. If that works with your audience, they're not ready to buy yet, but you warm them up, you get them answering questions about themselves that are ultimately buyer decision questions. And you can move them towards a pitch. It's like, hey, awesome. I have this, like, you're a medium firm mattress lover. It's going to do X, Y, and Z for you. If you have a soft mattress or if you have a hard mattress, you're probably going to deal with these problems. And so it turns into a mini advertorial, which you see at the end there, right? An advertorial. It's it feels almost like a press release. And so you're going through like, here are the problems I could be having if I have these other things. What's going on? Here's a story about this that happened with someone, and then this thing ended up happening to them. Anyways, we don't want that to happen to you. It's our mission in life to help people sleep better so that they can show up as better employees, better spouses, better parents, whatever it might be, better athletes, better politicians, whatever. So that's why we're running the sale. Go ahead and check it out. Easy peasy. So that's how you run a quiz funnel. A bridge page. A bridge page is also kind of warming someone up. A quiz funnel is an example of a bridge page. But a bridge page might be something like, hey, I'm going to be... Imagine you're selling coaching, for example, and you, for some reason, wanted to sell it immediately to someone who's kind of coming cold off of an ad. Not typically advisable. Let's say hypothetically you did. The first thing you would offer them is a training. It's not a pitch. And so you might have like a little 20-minute training video on something that kind of starts sliding into like, oh, you're going to click through on the next page and you're going to discover a solution to this. We talked about problems 1 and 2, but problem number 3 is only solved with this other thing. Click through to the next page. And then they're actually on like a dedicated sales page to solving that third problem. That would be a bridge page. And basically it's just not an all-in-one. And we'll go into the advantages and disadvantages of that later. And then the advertorial, I kind of got into at the end of the quiz funnel, but the advertorial realistically feels kind of like a blog, like a news release. It's like, 7 things that are keeping you from, 7 things that are keeping you from having your best life. And you're like, a new Harvard study shows XYZ, right? That these sorts of people are happier when they do these things. Here are the 7 things that are keeping you back or holding you back. And you go through it. And you realize the whole time eventually that they're kind of buyer decision questions and it's pitching you on something. And maybe even you literally make it look like a blog and then add in those like little pop-up kind of display advertisement things. But maybe you put them at the perfect time and it's on an article that really sells the value of that thing in there. And then at the very bottom, you can say like, and that's why we partnered with so-and-so today. They do XYZ. Here you go. Right. That would be how you make an advertorial that feels like a news release actually function like a high quality, sales page. All right. So we went over the types. Let's talk about the squeeze page. You've seen them everywhere. Probably they've gotten less popular over time, but I still see them used very successfully. I'll show you an example next. Typically they're really short. They just have like a headline and they're like, hey, go ahead and subscribe. Right. And you maybe use an arrow, you're like, hey, you get the quick squeeze page, whatever it might be, right? So typically it's an offer for something. It's not just subscribe, unless it's to people who you're like, you watch my videos all the time. Do you want to be alerted about this coming ahead of time? But even then, the benefit is that you're seeing videos before they would have seen it on YouTube. So there's almost always another reason to do a thing, right? So it might be download a free book, subscribe to a newsletter, sign up for a webinar, access a free tool, whatever it might be, right? The best ones follow one simple rule is that they're super obvious. They're obvious on how to sign up. It's like a big clear opt-in box like this one. A single action, there's no distractions. It's obvious why they should sign up. Again, there's got to be something extra, right? What are they getting? What's in it for them? If the value isn't instantly clear, like they come and they're like, oh, that's what I get. They'll click away. They'll be like, I've made it this far without subscribing. I don't need to subscribe. It's fine. And that's it. There's no fluff. There's no extra buttons. There's just one goal, which is to get the email. Because remember, people don't want more emails. They want a result. They want information. They want value. So you have to promise that here for them to actually give you their email. And hopefully they're good email and not their junk email. So you really, really, really want to deliver good value. One tip there is if you're in an industry, if what you're offering feels like it might be a little bit low value, like it's very transactional, like I'm going to get the ebook, for example, and you're like, I'm just going to download it. One thing that is super, super impactful for increasing the impact of a page like this is to say, like, let me send you an ebook. And then after that, I'm going to also throw in like a free week kind of going through the most important points. And I'm going to send you each of those emails every day. Make sure you check those out. Why? Because they have to check in every day for the next week. And they probably don't want to send that to their junk email as much. So that's an easy way to make sure that you end up in the main inbox instead of the junk inbox, right? Or being given the junk email, rather. All right. So my little example here. That is not what I caught. Oh, I didn't hit save yesterday. My bad. Perspective.io/agency. Do I just know that off the top of my head? Because that's awesome. Perspective.io is a competitor. I think it's Co now, but it was .io. They're a competitor to ClickFunnels. So they made this new landing page builder / funnel builder that what it does, the promise of it is that it's easier to use. ClickFunnels 2.0 really didn't improve as much as it needed to. It had a lot of glitches. That's one of their talking points. And in general, the concern was also loading speed. So they're like, very specifically, we've got fast load times. It's way easier to use. It uses AI to help you build really beautiful landing pages in a way that you wouldn't. I've never been inside the tool, so I don't know if it does that. Some people say AI and they just mean it's an algorithm or we built the tool. It doesn't even mean AI. But anyways, that being said, they have a great funnel. So this one I've seen where it's like unlock the training. This still works really well. In a way that like get the free ebook. Again, there was a time, I'd say like 2 or 3 years ago, where I just got nothing but the freebie lead magnet offer. And they can work. You just have to be very clever. But I think this is a solid example of like, hey, inside of this training, you're going to learn how to boost your clients' conversion rates by 7x using quiz funnels, optimize your agency's workflows and tech stack by combining your CRM, funnel builder, and client dashboards into one tool, saving you time and money. You can launch best-in-class funnels in under 60 minutes using our proven scalable funnel templates, cutting agency service delivery time in half. Immediately launch our best performing funnel and test it against your current setup risk-free for 14 days. All right. Couple of things to note there. One, that's that benefit first, where it has a verb in front. Great job. And we bolded it. So the back half is relevant, but only if you keep reading. If you wanted to just read boost your clients' conversion rates by 7%, that's great. You want to optimize your agency workflows and tech stack, that's great. Launch best-in-class funnels in under 60 minutes, that's great. So that's cool. They have 4 testimonials, which are nice and short. There are numbers in 3 of them, very specific numbers, which is great. One has a $sign. You see how headliney those testimonials are. That's perfect. My guess would be that they worked with these people and said like, hey, could you try doing this? Would you mind throwing this in? That was a great testimonial. I really appreciate that. Would you mind giving us a second one where you just say how many newsletter subscribers you got? Like the exact number. That would be awesome. We'll even give you a Starbucks gift card if you do that, right? So agency owners, the funnel tool that's putting elite marketer circles in awe. This used to be a little bit more explicit, I think. I think this used to be like, get the training or something like that up top. It was very clear that you were unlocking this training. I think it's a little bit less clear now, but I see why that headline is more of like a kind of a TikTok-y headline. It's like, oh, it's doing this. You're like, wait, what does it do? So it's a good open loop. I would just say, I'm sure this is working because he's tested it, but I think it is missing that specificity. So, I'd maybe do like, maybe something up here. Maybe I'd add something to the video that it's like, it just needs to say training somewhere. I think that would be super helpful. Just be clear what's happening. Because unlock the video here is really clear. It's a video, I see unlock, but just one more thing I think would just make it a little bit more clear. Anyways, you put in your email. And once you do that, you immediately get taken to this 3-minute little demo, which just kind of shows you how Perspective works and how you can put together a landing page with it, right? Cool. I don't think I need to go into that right now. I do think I might talk about that tomorrow. You see, this is very sales lettery, right? Is that it goes through here. It has all that stuff. Start a 14-day free trial, nice and easy. It has the trust stats, a couple of big benefits there. And this one's definitely optimized for mobile because it doesn't look that good on desktop. See how hard that is to see. And yet it is what it is. All right. We've got some testimonials or some examples really of people using it. A video testimonial. Very cool FAQ. All right, so this is a good one, but the point is that that's a 2-step funnel where they got the email capture. Now, email law, because I think Perspective.co is technically breaking this. I don't know where he's running it, to be fair, but for GDPR compliance and California compliance, I think those are the only ones I have to worry about. I just submit to this because it's easier than not targeting those people. If you have something like this, it has to be clear that you're subscribing. So you could put a box down here that says like, I know I'm subscribing. Don't love that. One of my favorites is just writing subscribe to unlock. Easy. It's very clear if you click that button that you are subscribing to unlock. I could write it here. Your email address in parentheses subscribe. I could put it up here. I could say, subscribe agency owners, the fool, whatever. Like, it just has to be clear that technically you can give an email address just for PDF, and you haven't opted in to receive future marketing communications. They could come get you for that. I'm sure it works better without it, but eventually someone could call you on it, right? So I don't highly recommend that. Anyways. That's a good example of a modern squeeze page, just with a couple of things I tweak, right? Medium squeeze pages. They're a little bit longer, but they're doing the same thing. So this is, again, just, they function a little bit differently than they did a couple years ago. All right. So we have, from One Peak Creative, that's like a social media kind of course thing. The free guide to viral growth. I'm not going to read through each and every detail, who it's trusted by. We've got a couple of testimonials, only 4. Yeah, I go way heavier on that. Way heavier. My goodness. And what's that? Yeah, way better on mobile. Again, they clearly designed it for mobile. That's cool. But you got to make sure I can read your testimonials, guys. You got to do it. Okay, come on. Okay. What you'll get in this guide, you'll get all this stuff. There's more testimonials. Send me the guides. We have a second call to action. Download for free. It gives you a pop-up. Who are we? We've got some people. All right, so this is probably like a brand thing if they're doing that. And the reason why I say that is typically that would be in very, very bad practice to put in a link there that will take you away to a different page where you're suddenly watching their TikTok videos. Because the likelihood that they come back is quite low. But if they're just trying to kind of build up this brand so that they can run ads to me later on Instagram, well, they can do that. And then finally, you want to learn everything that should probably take you to a higher level thing. It's an interesting one. It's an interesting little funnel, which means this one isn't that important to them. But you see that they do have the capture here, right? Okay. Active Campaign is a marketing tool. And you'll see this quite a bit. Like Aaron Marino had this sort of thing, right? Whereas I am Alpha M. And so technically, like, this would be a short squeeze page. Like, imagine nothing else on this. It would just be like, hey, subscribe. There's no promise there, but this is what a lot of short squeeze pages were like very, very recently. But they've started to get a lot more stuff to them. All right. So for Active Campaign, which they've changed a lot. Yeah, they used to have a call to action. Man, this is the problem with making stuff way in the future, is start your free trial. Yeah. Okay, so they tested that, I'm sure. to unlock the 14-day free trial, and it's very popular with SaaS companies, is this is their version of that. Software as a service is SaaS. You put in your email and you unlock a 14-day free trial. You're going to have to put in your credit card after this, but if you decide not to pay, they now have your email. Again, you haven't subscribed, so they could call you on that, but it's also probably implied somewhere. I'm not a lawyer. Leave me alone. But they could get caught for that. Before, they used to have, instead of clicking through, it used to just be a start here area where you put in your email and hit go. Let's see if I go to Active Campaign and I go to, I don't know. What does Perspective have? Nope. Anyways. Copy Posse. Back to the Copy Posse. We're learning direct response from direct response people. Cool. Here we go. Copy Posse. Get instant access. Okay, so there we go. So she does it a little bit differently. She does pop-up. I've seen this a lot more recently. And for someone who always has really, really good designs, this is almost like an offensive amount of words with just like no spacing between the lines. Oh no. Alex, why? Why? But other than that, how do you know if copywriting is right for you? 5 undeniable signs that you were, without a shred of doubt, born to be a copywriter. Get instant access. See, this is kind of salacious. I will say, I do think her audience appeal is largely women. And so maybe that like sort of like salacious, gossipy thing was like 5. It really does feel like a quiz funnel, right? And she could probably turn it into a quiz funnel. Maybe it was a quiz funnel and she converted it into this. I don't know. All right. In this free guide, you'll discover the 5 telltale signs that copywriting is right for you, debunk the common misconceptions that prevent most people from getting started, learn the most important thing you must have if you want to be a successful copywriter. Plus, I'll reveal my step-by-step method for igniting a successful copywriting career in as little time as possible. Get instant access. About Alex Gattoni, get instant access to this free guide. Cool. So pretty simple. And then inside, you're just going to get name and email address. What happens when I do that? What is the next step? Are you just going to sell me on a full thing? Yeah. So she goes straight into the pitch, which is kind of what was happening with the TikTok one. No, I'm in roll. I have to go back a level. So let's see what happens when I subscribe to this one. Free download. Your guide will be emailed to you in 5 minutes. And I guess it's like a thank you page, but it's all benefit. And then it's selling me on the course. Yeah, got it. So cool. It's just kind of connecting the value of the other one, and then they go for another pitch, which is smart. So this is what's known as the self-liquidating offer. And I don't know when that's going to come up today. It's going to come up next, guys. That's awesome. Hey, the self-liquidating offer. So this is one of the smartest ways to make your ads pay for themselves. So before what we've been talking about is the squeeze page, which is like, hey, I'm not ready to make a sale to you yet. Only some of you would buy it, and I want to make sure for the rest of you I have an email. But it also kind of functions as a bridge page. They've bought into it a little bit. They've kind of like, all right, I saw a little bit of what they're about. Okay, I'll go into, and so they're a little bit warmer on everything you have to offer than they were just a second ago when they came from an ad or from doom scrolling, right? And so someone clicks on the ad, they come to your squeeze page, they're warmed up a little bit. They're getting an ebook or a cheat sheet or a mini course or whatever. And then you could say, thanks, check your email, but it's a missed opportunity because they're still a captive audience. They're a little bit warmer. And instead, you could send them to a self-liquidating offer or an SLO page, which is a low-ticket offer like $17, $27. It's something small but valuable, and probably valuable in the same way, just more so than the guide you just gave them, right? So you've got their email. If they don't buy, it's all good. You can talk to them later. And this isn't designed to make you rich, the self-liquidating offer. It's not. The purpose of this is just, hey, if I spent $10 to get a lead, and then I say, okay, great, check your email. let me be honest with you, in core sales, like 50% of people will never even go and touch that thing, maybe higher, especially when it's free. If you charge them for $1, you'll probably get up to 50%, you know? If it's free, like 90% of people are never opening that thing. It just is what it is. So you want to make a pitch while they're warm. And so the self-liquidating offer, what it does well is you spent $10 to get a lead that may or may not turn into anything. If 90% of it, just multiply it by 10. Or so it's $100 per sale. You better have a $200 or $300 thing you're selling after that. Or you can do the self-liquidating offer right afterwards. And let's hope, every third person buys the $27 offer. Hey, we're almost break even. And that's without an upsell, because after you buy something, you can upsell. We're almost break even on that pitch before people are even on my email list. So now anything I do with email is actually just a lead I paid a little bit for, or that I paid nothing for, and I just get to make money from them now on. So that's what the self-liquidating offer does. That's what you just saw there, is right after that opt-in page, you go to the SLO. All right. So here's why it's so powerful, because most people spend money to generate leads. Now, why is this so powerful? Because the money's in the list. These people, 50 to 60% of people will continue to open, and you can keep reaching them over time. If you're a good email marketer, you can get those stats, right? And in order to get that big list, you have to be around for a really long time and deliver a lot of value, or you have to spend money to build it. And so if you want to spend money, $10 per lead, you want 100,000 people on your email list. Are you about to drop $1 million for things that people are eventually going to convert on? Or are you going to drop $1 million and make back 900? If you have a really good upsell on there, you're going to drop $1 million and make back 1.1, 1.2. That's pretty good. And now anything on your email list from your 100,000 subscribers is just money in your pocket, which is great. That's the idea. So the key takeaway is that the strategy of the page is affected by the next. You have to make sure that they're well aligned, right? So afterwards, you kind of a justification that tells a new story that starts with the old story and continues on through. And we'll go deeper into a full funnel strategy on our very last class together. But that's how your whole funnel should work. You have an ad, you have a social media, it filters down into some sort of email capture of some sort of offer. Then they're on your email list. You'll give them emails that kind of deliver value and eventually kind of push them into buying something from you. After they buy that from you, they'll probably get a congratulations sequence that also talks about like a new problem that they're facing, and then sell them into a mid-ticket thing and then into a high-ticket thing. Or just depending on your industry, you're just cross-promoting stuff to them, which is, oh, hey, did you consider this? Did you consider this? Did you whatever? I'm so tired. I'm so tired, y'all. And then we'll talk about, some people will never answer you on email. So now you're going to figure out how to use those emails to run ads to them. We're going to talk all about that in classes 20 through 21. However, this class is taking me a long time. I'm just going to launch this thing once I've shot 19. So 20 and 21 will come a little bit later. But eventually we'll tack them on and it'll be super, super high value. But I'll probably end up putting like 80 hours into those final things. So that's why I was like, oh, those final two classes are going to take a long time. All right. Anyways, self-liquidating offer. Yeah, you get it. Super valuable. Needs to tell a story. Needs to feel cohesive. And it is the very beginning of your journey, or maybe the second step after an ad or after your social media post, right? So let's talk about the other stuff. We've talked about a lot of that. Now we have to talk about the ultimate warm-up funnel that sells before you sell, and the secret to writing sales pages for the Spock in your life. All right, so the quiz funnel, we talked about it a little bit before, but it's a little bit salacious. It's a little bit like, ooh, what's going on? Am I this thing? And the reason why it works so well is because it works specifically for doom scrollers to feel like they're getting something. And BuzzFeed was so popular for this. Oh my gosh. BuzzFeed, rest in peace. Not really. You were kind of a garbage institution. But BuzzFeed, wow. They just crushed it with this. And you'd answer things. You really couldn't go like 5 minutes without getting some sort of a quiz that was like, if you did these things as a teen, you were a rebel. And you're like, what things? And you say, even the biggest Harry Potter fan can't get this 100% right on this fan quiz. And you're like, I have to know. I am the biggest Harry Potter fan. Or find out which Schitt's Creek character you're the most like. And you had to go to, they're super cheesy, but people just couldn't resist clicking on them because they don't feel like ads, and they weren't. They were BuzzFeed, but they got people onto their platform and they could click through to other articles, and they could capture emails. They could get your pixel. So now that you clicked on their thing, now they can advertise to you about other stuff. They can sell that information to people. They can build up a big list of people and be like, here you go, advertise to these people. They clearly have an interest in Harry Potter. So if you want to run, for instance, I wrote a Harry Potter cocktail book like 12 years ago, probably. You could target them with that. You could buy it from us, right? That's BuzzFeed. It is what it is. I'm not sure if they do that. Just a lot of organizations do that. So anyways, and it works so well because they don't feel like ads. So BuzzFeed used this to drive traffic to news stories, generate engagement, and build anticipation for TV shows and movies and stuff like that. So, Harry Potter or Schitt's Creek might do that to kind of boost their own thing. So it might be a paid placement. But the smart marketers use the exact same strategy to sell products. And you could take a well-crafted quiz, make the results highly personalized, and then recommend a product that fits. A skincare brand might say, what's your skin type? And recommend the perfect routine. A coaching program might ask, well, what's your biggest business challenge? And offer a tailored solution. A supplement company might ask, what's your fitness goal? What problems are you facing? And then suggest a best product. So VShred uses this to great effect with which body type are you quiz. It's the endomorph, ectomorph, and mesomorph, which is basically the hard gainer, the guy who can gain or lose weight, and the guy who has a really hard time losing weight. So that's the body type thing. In Stitch Fix, I mentioned earlier, does it really well with their personal style quiz. Mattress companies do it really well for like your sleep number quiz or whatever. So the genius of quiz funnels is they don't go full frontal. They take time to warm people up, engage, help them self-identify, which makes your ad more effective later on. If you only have like 8 different outcomes, you can make 8 different sales pages that pitch the value of a medium mattress versus a soft mattress, right? You can do that. And that's what makes it so powerful. All right, let me go, would you? So does your quiz funnel suck? Yes, and yes. But we're going to look at some people who have good quiz funnels. Hey, would you look at that? Nice little, it looks like and probably is a squeeze page. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in my freeuniversalcollege.com. And now we're going to start my analysis. Now it's a different kind of a quiz funnel. It's not quite as, again, salacious as the other ones. It's not quite as gossipy, but it's going to run an analysis on my site and then tell me what I need to do. It's a short little quiz funnel, but it's doing, it's asking the questions of my site, not even of me. But I'm going to sit here and watch it. I'm like, oh, does my page have everything it needs? Oh, I'm not spending a lot of money on Google Ads. So it's clearly personalizing it for me. And I have no idea how long it's going to take. So as it's doing that, I'm going to go ahead and launch the Stitch Fix quiz. I think it's cool that people leave up their stuff forever because it makes it super easy for me to come back around to it and actually kind of judge it later, right? And use it for teaching purposes. Also, one thing you should be doing is funnel hacking. I think I've talked about that before, but a lot of my growth comes from looking at what other people are doing and just keeping up with it and be like, they're spending money. What changes did they make? What parts did they remove? And I have to be familiar enough with their page to be like, they took that away. Which means I don't have to test it. I'm like, that'll work. And then I know what works if it's on there long enough. So anyways, your report is ready. We found 3 marketing opportunities, want to explore more. And I can put in all of my information, right? So that's a different kind of a quiz funnel, right? It's not asking you the questions. It's asking your site the questions. And then it's asking for a delivery. So it's kind of a quiz funnel, kind of a squeeze page. You see, again, how really good marketers kind of weave them together all into one concept. All right. More appropriately, the one that we've talked about many times is the Stitch Fix quiz. All right. What can we style for? Now, it's a little silly because I just came from the men's page, but it is what it is. Before we log in, what's your email? So I'm just going to go through this really fast so you can see some of the questions it's asked. Nice to meet you. Let's get started. What's most important to you? Improving my style. What types of clothes are you looking for? Business casual. Got it. We've styled over 160 million outfits. Cool. That wasn't a question. That was a buyer decision question. We did a little proof of what they're doing. How tall are you? I am 5'11". I'm real basic. I am 190 pounds. What's your body type? Inverted triangle. Hooah! We noticed you might fit well in big and tall sizes. No. Well, first of all, what the hey, dude? No. I'm not. I wear a large. And it is relatively baggy on me. So chill out, bro. Wow. That's more insulting than it used to be, I think. I don't know. No. Leave me alone. What size do you typically wear? I wear a large. It's just right. Leave me alone. My waist is... I don't know right now. Am I 34, maybe? Because I bulk and I cut. I used to wear 36s, but I swim in those right now. 34s are even a little loose, but I could not go down to a 32. So, it's nice. There you go. Just right. Off the top of my head, 30. Blazer, I think I'm a 40. It's been hot. No, I'm a 38. It's been a hot minute, so I don't remember. I'm going to say 40. I could actually go to my closet and check, but I'm not going to. 11 and a half. There we go. Man, can you like steal my identity from knowing my body shape? I don't know. They are often too tight. Typically just right. How do sleeves lengths tend to fit? They're typically just right. Now, why is this all important? Even if they don't use this, and I hope they do, I hope that they make recommendations based on this. But if they don't, if they're not adding special tags in their HubSpot or whatever email account they're using, this makes me feel like I'm really getting a customized experience. I've really invested a lot of energy into it. And so when they make a pitch at the end, I'm going to be like, this is so tailored. They have so much information. It's going to be high value. So ironically, being longer and taking more time is actually going to be beneficial. How do pants tend to fit in the thigh? Just right, probably. How do pant lengths tend to fit? Well, I buy long pants because I know how long my pants are. But typically they are too short because I got a short torso and a long leg. Yeah. You have slim straight, dude? Yeah, sure, athletic. We'll go there. I like your shorts to fit. Those literally all look exactly the same to me. Not at the knee, above the knee. Lower thigh, maybe? I mean, if they're gym shorts, I'll go upper thigh, but... definitely slim. Your best fitters are 92% we get their fit right. Oh, that's a nice little stat. Let's define your style. Oh, this takes a while. Would you wear these? Oh God, this is not for website. This is no. It's a little lame. That material is lame. No. No, not a denim guy. Yeah, I would. I mean, on a vacation. Yeah, that's a slick one. Yeah. Yellows. Good Lord, that's a hideous color. That's about it. What patterns do you want to avoid? Yeah. Really don't mind any of those. I actually don't like paisley. Yeah, don't give me graphic t-shirts. And if you were reading my Aaron Marino thing and I'm like, places that are just trying to unload their stuff, that's these people. All right. I did subscribe to them very briefly and they're just trying to get rid of the stuff that they would have put on the clearance rack. It's a whole strategy. It's a good strategy. But it is what it is. Expensive stuff that was unjustifiably expensive. I'm not like closed off to V-necks, but a little showy for me. All right. Yeah, do not give me a sandal. performance sneakers aren't style wear. That's great. Lasting budget. Okay, so again, every once in a while they keep justifying themselves and talking about some sort of benefit. Yeah, I could spend that. I have spent this much for shirts, but I frequently don't. But the typical budget. Yeah, there we go. Tees and polos? Who spends that much on a t-shirt? What is wrong with you? Definitely. For a good polo, yes, but not for a t-shirt. Sweaters and sweatshirts. But I also don't wear t-shirts out and about, you know. This is a rare exception where I'm trying to wear yellow and black because it's the colors of my business. But typically, I wear a collar when I'm out in life. Sweaters and sweatshirts, yeah, I mean, they have to be. Yeah, under 75 typically. Shorts. I love their budgeting. They're like, how much do you spend? You're like, not that much. Good Lord. Shorts. I don't know. Yeah. Blazers and outerwear. Yeah. Well, blazers and outerwear are very different categories. So for a jacket, I might spend, well, I mean, I've got a leather jacket that's like a $300 jacket, but what do you want from me here? I don't know. That's not what the point of this is. It's not to give great answers. Shoes. Typically, somewhere in there. Budget set. We'll shop to it. Thank you. Oh my goodness, it just keeps going. Banana, bonobos. Johnson and Murphy, yeah. I do like them. Zara can be acceptable. Yeah, you're good. I don't shop there, but they look nice on other people. Yes. How do you want to be with your fit selection? Somewhat. Okay, I'm not giving you a real one because this one actually could get me. I was born in 1925, and you can take that to the bank. Yeah, you're a modern classic, am I? Oh, thank you. Oh, all nice things about you. Does that sound like me? Yeah, mostly. Thanks. I don't introduce yourself to your stylist. It's style for me. Styling fee waived. Recommended. They still haven't shown me a price. I'm already agreeing. Does this delivery date work for you? Yes. And then you can pay them. And it's $0. You get to keep 20% off the items you get. Cool. So, even though that took ages, I think you see, it was a lot of questions that kind of warmed me up. Because I've gotten this far into it, I'm like kind of committed if I actually finished it. But, yeah, that's great. And they showed you kind of how far you were in the process. Now V-Shred. This one's a little bit shorter. Thank goodness. I'm a man. I am 30. Imperial. Much do you weigh? You want to tell me I'm big and tall? Not for athletes. No, I'm downright normal. Well, I want to do that, but I also want to gain a bunch of weight. All right, so now we ask a quick question, and it's like, hey, now we're going to solve this problem for you. Burn off that last layer of fat. So it's clearly custom tailored to me. All right. Very easy, very nice. It's using this Vitalytics video player. I know because I've used it.
Hi there. Okay, so you're looking to burn off that last layer of fat and just get shredded up so that you can really just start to look amazing at the pool or on vacation or just with your shirt off in general. And that's an exciting goal. And believe it or not, it's super attainable. So stick with me for
about his VSL right now, but it's there. It exists. Let's hop on back. We've seen some good quiz funnels now. Now we can go into... How many more of these do I have? Quite a bit. All right. I am not going to finish this today before my family wakes up, but that's okay. All right. This is an example of a bridge page where you just kind of warm people up on something. So you have a picture, you have a short story, and then on the next page, you're going to say, like, discover the secret. This particular bridge page, as compared to like the quiz funnel, for example, where it's like, it's bridging you from your social media experience to an actual pitch. This one's a lot shorter. It's preferred by affiliate marketers very often. And the reason why is because they have these things called hop links, and the hop links can't, Facebook doesn't like them. It's like, oh, a hop link. So you have to put them on the next page. So this one is just a link to another website, but that web page will have your hop link on it. But also, you still have the same problem of people needing to be warmed up before they watch a video that's clearly a sales pitch. So it's a hand-in-hand thing. It does two jobs. Man spent 3 years learning to read 10,000 words per minute. People used to believe that you could only read 200 words per minute, but after he read thousands of ancient manuscripts, he discovered a secret. With the right training, you can read 10,370. In fact, there are only 3 things you need to start reading faster. Discover the secret. So the next video is going to be like a training video on here's how to read faster, but there's going to be one thing that's not solved, and that's going to be something that we're going to sell you something for, right? Maybe it's a book, maybe it's a course, maybe it's some sort of note-taking system or something like that, right? There you go. Now our advertorial. Now our advertorial. At first glance, it just looks like a normal blog post, right? And I didn't write this whole thing, but you see how it's the same thing and the same pitch in a different structure. It's like most people can read 1,000 words per minute, new study finds. And so say, hey, blog-like landing pages is the best way to warm people up. How fast can you read? 60 words per minute, 120? Well, according to a new research coming from FU College or Harvard University or whoever does it, seems to suggest that the average person is capable of reading 973 words per minute with the right training. And you go in, you explain it, and you're like, here's what they need. They need to do X, Y, and Z. But this all comes with a cost. You know, they're reading so fast, it doesn't mean they're digesting this information. So you have to do a second pass on good quality notes later. How do you get good quality notes when you're reading that fast? Well, we have something for you. You know, it's an AI tool that automatically, like if you read out loud or something, it'll automatically take notes. I don't know what the product is, but that would be an example of something you could pitch, and you do it after thousands of words talking about how, you know, you're going to bring in the same things from the 12 gauge landing pages. You're going to come through. You're going to say the problem is most people don't read at all. You know, here's a story of a person. You know, we talked to some people outside of this building, and most of them said it had been years since they read, or if they had, they just read really easy books. They really didn't do anything that developed their careers. And a lot of people are just like, oh, I'm falling asleep. I can't read. Well, the more engaged you are with your reading, the better you can read. In fact, you can even read with the right tactics 1,000 words a minute, which means you can finish books in hours, not days or weeks, which makes it a lot easier to want to finish. Same story, same thing, structured in a different way. You put it into an article. Very, very cool. All right. The e-commerce page, we talked about this several times, so I don't think I need to go into it too much, but you know, you pick the quantity, you pick the color. Knowledge is power. Maybe this is what they're selling. This is the ebook. Do you want to 10x your reading speed? We reveal everything you need to know in 65 pages. So that could be how we sell that, how we buy that. And yeah, there'll be more information down the page on what you're getting, on the features and benefits. It often will have a star ranking system, and then reviews, and then below you can actually read some of the reviews. So that is yet another way of doing it. And the final one we're going to talk about is the bottom of funnel landing page. And I almost always bring this up because it's an e-commerce page, but it's for people who know what they want. And for me, the people who know what they want more than anything, I would say like car guys, but that's not true. They want to get in the car. They want to feel it. It's computer people who are buying computer parts. They're like, I know, I'm looking for specs. How fast is this? How can I overclock this? Nom, 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 nom. All right. So they're not asking, do I need this? They know that they need it. They want it more than anything. They're like, which one should I get? If I'm dropping $300+ on a graphics card, what the heck am I getting? Right. And that means what you need to deliver is clarity fast. You need to say like, here's what it is, here's the value. But you can still use the 12 gauge landing page formula. I think that's the important thing. So you skip the double clap. Oh my God, the double clap. You can skip the double tap close. Very important. These people do not need that. You just need to give them some facts. You need to keep your story short, but not absent, because people still respond to stories. So you could say like, it doesn't need to be a long-winded journey, right? You can make it quick, relevant, and tied with specific benefits. So you can be like, you know, it could be a testimonial that's like, I was losing games if that was a problem. You know, I was streaming and I kept getting headshot by people I didn't even see yet, all because my card wasn't fast enough to keep up. Or maybe For years, I wanted to be competitive, so I turned my graphics quality down, and now I don't have to, right? That's a short little story. You do it in the form of a testimonial. It's all good to go. Or you could do that as you're writing through. You say up here, beyond fast, the NVIDIA is super fast. Now you don't have to turn down your graphics settings just to be competitive. It's fast enough to handle anything you can throw at it. You're good to go, right? That's how you can do it. So you can take a look at NVIDIA's 40 series graphic card page. It's clean in terms of design. It has the tech specs up front. You can see it very easily. There's clear comparisons to the competitors, and there's just enough storytelling to create some excitement. And that's how you should make a bottom of funnel thing. So let's go through a bottom of funnel page, which is way more like a website. I thought theirs was pretty good, and it's a very specific audience. But so you see the series, it's beyond fast. Experience lifelike virtual worlds with ray tracing and ultra high FPS gaming with the lowest latency. Now, personally, I think that's a little verbose, but for the extreme tech nerd who's buying this, it may not be. That may be exactly what they want to see. There's kind of a super fast, super powered. So now we get to look at the different ones and see how they clock and everything. Okay, so this is good, right? We get to the top, it says realistic and immersive graphics. Is that a stat? No. Cutting edge GPUs. Is that a stat? No. AI accelerated performance. Is that a stat? No. Oh, there's a performance. And what do? We just visually show it real quick. So all of these, like, oh, beautiful. Wow. It's just green. I just take it in. Again, the power of design is you're just showing it. Same thing here. I don't have to watch these. These thumbnails are killer. 24 FPS, 92 FPS. 75 versus 121, 72 versus 122. That's awesome. That's super easy. You don't have to watch this. You could watch it if you wanted to. You could come in here and actually see the comparison. Kind of a glitchy walk versus a nice smooth walk. All right. So much better to just show it visually like that and it's green instead of white. It's just so easy to do that, right? That's why I talk about the importance of design. All right, look, yeah. So we turn down our graphics quality, and suddenly that is a powerful slider there. That is a before and after. Now we're getting all sorts of beautiful lighting effects, realistic water textures. We're getting the reflection in the water. So cool, beautiful. Yeah. So and look at their headlines: max FPS, max quality, powered by AI. That's a good headline. That's not clocks at this amount or whatever that we had up here. That really we just kind of scrolled over. And it's just a ratio. It's not even giving me my gigahertz. I have not seen gigahertz on the page yet. Or gigabytes. I really don't care about the AI. I guess I can shop. Yeah, so on this page, there we go. Did we get some stats at the very bottom? There we go. So this is what I've been looking for the whole time. I kind of expected this. But we see how many cores there are compared to other models. We see what the best clock speed is. We see what the memory size is and the memory type. That is so easy. Look, it's at the very bottom. Even for people who are highly, highly technical, yeah, this is $1,000 processor, man. All right. So I think you get it. I think you get it that even on something like this, you're showing them 102 is better. Yes, this feels like a stat, but it's also 102 versus 21. It's a very emotional reaction. Very emotional reaction to be like, oh, my game doesn't look. Oh, my game is so beautiful. Oh, that is such a cool effect there. Again, that's how you use design to sell something. So very nice. Very nice. All right, that's our bottom of funnel page. So what do you do for people who don't read? We talked a lot about how to use design to make it more interesting to go through. Some people don't like to read. Maybe they're busy. Maybe, you just can't catch their attention. Realistically, you're going to make me read after I've been doom scrolling for the last 2 hours. So if you have someone who doesn't want to read, or people who are about to aggressively skim, get bored after 2 sentences, and would rather go back to doom scroll something instead of reading paragraphs of text, they're your biggest audience. Unfortunately, that's most of them. And if you're not reaching them, you're leaving money on the table, which is why tomorrow we're going to talk about video landing pages or video sales letters. That's for people who need you to grab attention very, very quickly. They need you to grab their attention very, very quickly, and you need to keep viewers watching. So how do you do that? You do it with a video, a well-positioned video that writes a lot like a sales letter, but doesn't involve all that pesky reading stuff, and allows you to add in design elements in a tight little spot. So because it's going to play a video, you can get that all in one area, and not have to spend hours and hours and hours designing vertically. You know, it's all just in this little square. So you can have a different effect every 3 seconds if you want to. Make it feel like, you know, a TikTok video and really just keep that momentum going. That's how you get attention. That's how you keep them watching. And at the end of it, you can sell without writing a single line of written copy, which is cool. Some people feel it in their gut and they can just do it, but we're going to talk about how to write it a little bit more intentionally. Now, I think I've talked about this several times, but it's worth mentioning. Once you write your copy for your long sales pages, like we did yesterday, that we talked about at the beginning, that we talked about in today's episode, is you're going to have to edit it. You're going to have to cut back. I highly recommend, if you have the time, to edit a day later. Just sleep on it, come back the next day. You'll read it better. Read it out loud. Go through it and kind of feel it. Just be like, oh, did I stumble over those words? Well, I should probably change that. Because that's like the ease of reading. It's just like, how easily am I absorbing this information? And also, if it's something really big, like a sales letter that you're delivering that they've paid hundreds or thousands of dollars for, you should probably go through it a couple of times and read it out loud and do it over a couple of different days. And you can use the checklist I provided earlier to make sure that everything you want is on there. That's the Dan Kennedy checklist. But 2 different ways we can go through this. The Pareto principle, I talked about this before, is that 20% of the page, the very top, will bring in 80% of the benefits, because almost everyone's going to land there. And then the other 80% of the page is only going to bring in 20% of the results. So when you're testing it, use the 80-20 rule. Spend most of your time split testing this bit on top, and then you can spend the other 20% doing something down here. And the other thing you can do is, when you're running experiments, 80% of them should be safe little tweaks, just little tweaks here and there. And then every 20%, just take a big swing. Just be like, what if I totally change this whole freaking page? What would happen? You can do that too. Because if you're only taking the safe things, you're never going to have a random like 50% jump in conversions. You may not with each and every, big swing, but eventually you probably will. So it's worthwhile doing it every once in a while. But those incremental improvements will make up the backbone of what you know was working with your audience and what's not, and it will make you better at your big swings in the future. So there you go. Now the ROIA, the rule of one, there can only be one reader. There can only be one idea, one offer, one action. Stop getting so confused and going all over the place trying to pitch 2 things at the same time. Just pitch them on one thing and make them a godfather offer, an offer so good that they can't turn it down. Cub. If it's confusing or unbelievable or boring, cut it out. There you go. Cut it out. Something like that. I don't know. Anyways, cut it out. Get rid of it. And final, swappy, which is so what and prove it. So if you do get to a part that's a little unbelievable, you can either prove it or you can get rid of it. Those are your options. All right. Now, some non-sales letter examples we're going to go into really fast that are pretty good from Learn Worlds. And then, actually, I'm just going to call it here. Tomorrow, I'm going to wake up at a different time. Nope, that's going to be on Monday. I'm going to go through these different examples. We have a lot of examples to get through, and then we're going to make our own. I'm not going to write and create each of these following pages. I'm going to rework your sales letter from the other into these formats. Okay, so there we go. So tomorrow, I'm also going to rework everything like I told you would. So I'll see you then. Alrighty, y'all, what is up? I have finished the landing page, and I thought it would be helpful not only if I showed you the finished version, but if I went through and kind of explained my decisions. Again, this isn't a design course. It's a copywriting course. It's talking about how to write, but even if you aren't your own designer, I want you to see how the design process, 1, allows me to review my work, and then 2, how the design process actually allows you to rework your copy and put it in different spots. All right, let's go through here. I've just left little comments throughout where things need to happen. These 2 lines are the same thing. All right, so I'm in here and I was seeing, my goal is simple. I want you to always look amazing and be appropriately dressed. And I want you to always wear an outfit that makes you feel like you're crushing it. I felt like those were exactly the same. Again, when we're talking about cutting out the bulk in your copy, if your 2 lines are doing the same thing, unless you're doing the group of 3 that kind of increases in power, like I want you to feel good. I want you to, I want you to accomplish something meaningful. I want you to have the life you've always dreamed of, where it's like, I want you, I want you, I want you. Then you can repeat something. But in this case, I'm just repeating it twice. They're about the same length. They don't seem to, it's just like one sentence is better than the other. So I kept the second one because it seemed more natural. It seemed more like how Aaron would talk. And so I increased that. And why is that relevant? Because as I was going through here, I decided to emphasize that. So it's on a picture now. And so it was like, my goal is simple. I want you to always feel confident and appropriately dressed was here. And then I highlighted this, or I think I had the first line here, and then I had to put the second line that I liked more down here. None of it felt right. So I just simplified it to one, right? So exactly like I said, that decision wasn't made just reading through it, and I might have, but it was also really important because I was emphasizing this one line and it got really awkward. So that's, again, how design is going to backwardsly. That is how, in a backwards fashion, this is going to affect your copy. All right, I'm going through here. Yeah, so when I was going through here, I was just, this whole section where he's talking about, I help guys level up, and then all of a sudden it's like I'm styling other guys' husbands, and then my wife got me a camera and I couldn't help everyone's weight on me a lot. That part was relevant. But then there's whole part about his backstory, which I told you to include, but the backstory wasn't as relevant as I needed it to be. So I just stayed with, I've been helping guys level up their wardrobe since 2008. See? Which is why I made it my mission to help guys like you since 2008, but I can't be everywhere. I can't give each and every one of you personal styling. Honestly, that's weighed on me a lot because style is supposed to be personal, not something you just copy and paste. But now I can finally help you in a way I never could. It's a much shorter backstory. Again, with the 12 gauge landing page, you have the liberty to choose how long each section is, and you can play with making them longer or shorter. But that doesn't mean you need to make it needlessly long and add in an element of confusion. If you're deviating from the path in a bad way, not in like, let's open a loop and come back and then, oh, look how relevant it was. That's a different thing. If you're getting off the track and it doesn't feel like it contributed anything, get rid of it. Same thing with this whole section here. I was justifying AI. That's a cool objection busting thing that I was doing. But when I was just reading through, and you will probably, before you like turn something in like this to a client, I suggest you read through it out loud over and over and over again. Again, for design, that's great for me because I end up reading through it automatically over and over and over again. But take some time. Do it on a different day. Do it on a third day. You know, if this is a big project like a sales page, not like a short email, you should probably review it several times before you're good to go. So I'm going through here and it just felt super distracted. What did I write here? Unnecessary story. The blocking was hard to work with. Yeah. So I've been making sales pages for a while and sales letters for a while, and sales letters in format, I think have changed a lot. So before I go and like totally re-review my sales letter, you see that some of the blocking that I do, like this zigzag and this big pop out, that worked really well a couple of years ago. But the problem is that I think sales letters themselves, while a perfectly good tactic, are a little bit old-fashioned. And so you have to find a way with your design to make it not feel old-fashioned. Because I don't think it's old-fashioned in terms of tactics. It's that people kind of know what this, at least that is my feeling. When I've engaged with the world, that they see these sorts of pages and they say, oh man, that's a sales pitch. It screams sales pitch so much to them that they're gone. It feels like I can only think of like 90s commercial webinar. It's a, you know, Billy Mays here. It's one of those commercials to them. And so they just ignore it. So I got rid of these sections here because I felt like the actual design, the way it was laid out, felt like that. In addition to having this confusing section where I was talking about being skeptical about AI, right? And I jumped just straight in to meet your personal AI stylist. All right. Reordered this. Yeah, so as I was reading through here, I had, here's how it works. And then it said, we scan thousands of hours, but unlike other AI platforms, all you have to do is this. Then Stylosphere gives you a personalized recommendation. Then I have a GIF of it working, I believe. And then I say the key here is the human element. And as I was going through, I thought, you know what? After here's how it works, I want to talk about what you have to do first. So it's like, here's how it works. All you have to do is upload some pictures of yourself, like a couple pictures on Pinterest, and answer a few questions. Then StyleSphere gives you a personalized recommendation. That flow felt more natural. And then the question was, are these lines still important, or should I delete them? And I thought they were still important, right? It went into the quality of the product. So then below the GIF, I said, we scan thousands of hours of the best videos, tips, and outfits I've ever created and use them with the AI version of me. But unlike other AI platforms, it isn't just spitting out advice, which goes in really well to the key here is the human element. And I deleted those 2 lines where it was like, yes, the AI is trained to think like me, but it's also trained to think like you. It felt extra. It didn't need to be there. It wasn't adding anything. So the key here is the human element. And once it makes its recommendation, it's still up to you to pick something you like to create your personal style. Okay. I think that second half of that sentence is a little wordy as well. So I would cut that down. But you see how when reading it, you feel like, that sentence was a little hard to say out loud. It was a little wordy. Or, you know what? As I was reading through that, I actually kind of got lost in the point that I was making. Go ahead and change it. All right. So that's some of the changes there. Down here, I had that rule 3, but we're going to do this because we want to be one level better than we were yesterday, to be one level better than everyone else in the room, and to take yourself more seriously than the other guys around you. And there's a way to say that isn't kind of judgy of where other guys are at in their careers. And I could have sat around in their lives. But I could have sat around and tried to hammer that and figure out what was happening there. But ultimately, I just didn't feel like that was Aaron's vibe. Aaron would be like, you're better than you're trying to be better than yourself. This isn't about his whole thing. Like the Alpha M brand is like, I'm helping all the guys become alphas. This isn't about like dominating the people around you or being a jerk or whatever. This is about being the best version of yourself. And so I thought, you know what, I'm just going to ditch these other 2 lines, as much as like there's something there in the angle of like, let's, it starts out with this picture of this guy. It's like, don't be like that guy. Right. There's a version of that makes sense, but, I just felt like it was unnecessary. So I got rid of that part at least. All right. Couple more. Originally, it said Avenue here. And I was like, well, Art of Plain Talk, it shouldn't say Avenue, it should say Way. But I also ended up deleting most of this section. So I thought, because you watched me write it, I thought you should see like, oh, I did get rid of that word. It's important. But, almost all of this got deleted, because the only important part really is that, if you're ready to impress spicy senoritas or one particular, spicy senorita, you should get started now. So that new section now reads, if you're ready to impress spicy senoritas or one particular spicy senorita, remember we had this good enough isn't good enough. Yeah, we weren't even like touching on that theme. And that's the theme that we needed to touch on in this area. And so just totally rewrote it, honestly. It's like nothing like what it was before. Or one particular spicy senorita, stop settling for being good enough. You've always had big dreams of being the man, but somewhere along the way you gave up on all of that, but no longer. Let's reclaim that dream together. And this is the best time ever to get started because, and then I changed this line quite a bit. So originally I wrote it in the way that I write everything, which is with no formatting. And so it made sense to make it conversational and say, so for the first 100 subscribers, we're going to give it to you for 20% off its future price. Because I put it in this call out and because I made it so big, what's going to happen is people are going to scroll through and they need to be able to read it as if it's the only line they read and not a part of that whole sentence. And so I had to tweak it so that it was more like, plus there's never been a better time to join StyleSphere, here's what's coming. And so I can't have that's too casual at the beginning. So it just says, and probably not for the first 100 subscribers. It's just the first 100 subscribers. And then I say, we're going to give it to you. That's a lot of words. Let's cut that down for 20% of its future price. All right. So what did I change it to? The first 100 subscribers get StyleSphere for 20% of its future price. Nice and short, nice and easy. And if you're scrolling through, I was thinking this, I don't know that I explained this super well the other day. You'll see as you go through, some things are highlighted and some things aren't. So what am I doing? There's probably 3 categories of things I consider highlighting. One is a powerful benefit or emotion, an experience they've had that's going to resonate with them. Number 2 is something that is their buyer decision question. So the buyer decision question is like, in order to buy an AI stylist, what questions are they going to have? How good is this? How many outfits is this going to recommend for me? Is AI even going to give me interesting or creative outfits? Those sorts of things. And then you answer them in here. Those buyer decision questions will also get the highlight. And finally, and the one I probably use most heavily is for scanner optimization. So imagine almost none of these words get read except for ones that have that are on the pop-outs, and the ones that are in highlights. So as you're going through, you see level up your life. Don't be this guy. He's kind of a schlubby guy. It's what's on the inside that count. Appearances are superficial. Rich people wear t-shirts rather than jeans. Still trying to level up your life. Clothes make the man. Businessmen, and then you say businessmen, men, women, what do they all have in common? They don't take you seriously. And I see that 3 times. Okay, I can still notice that. You're investing in yourself. Successful, proud, powerful. So now we're building up the dream a little bit. I want you to always wear an outfit that makes you feel like you're crushing it. I help guys like you since 2008. I can finally help you in a way I never could before. The power of AI, the guys who want to make something of themselves meet style sphere. Personalized recommendation. The key is the human element. Check out the perfect piece at the perfect price, 1 level better. Studies show 41%. And this is something I was actually thinking. I think I'm far enough down this path. The goal is not to make a 100% perfect thing. Again, this isn't about design. This is about copywriting. But originally I emphasized these statistics, and I thought about this yesterday and just did not build it. Don't know why. But I emphasized these statistics. But when I play that game, as I only read through the bold parts, I look at this and I say, people don't care about that percent. I've done this before. This can be very impactful, especially if that's like a $sign or something like that, or pounds lost or pounds gained or whatever, something that is the actual benefit, but percents not necessarily so. So what I think I would do is still do this, but I do it at I have it at 36 points. I'd probably back it down to a 24-point font, right? Something that's a little bit bigger is that 20. It's 16. All right. So I just keep it a little bit larger, but I put an icon above it, an icon that was actually a little bit more impactful, right? So that would go down in size a little bit. All right. If I even highlighted that at all, and I think maybe I wouldn't. So imagine like an orange icon here. Ding. That goes above that shows, maybe someone in a suit and tie or someone being promoted. Promoting is a little hard to convey there, but that would be the goal of the icon, right? And then I do the same thing that would be like confidence, and it would be, someone kind of smiling with their shoulders back. And then number 3, that women perceived, and so it'd probably be women being impressed. And if icons didn't work, I'd probably go to pictures, and I go a little bit larger. It would be a rectangle, but I'd have, a handshake of people being promoted. Over here, I'd have someone kind of just, getting shoulders back confident. And then here, I would love to do the reverse meme of the distracted guy who's walking away and he's looking at the woman, except it would be a woman with her like schlubby boyfriend watching a better dressed guy walk away. So anyways, that's why I was like, sometimes the inspiration just comes from somewhere and you're like, all right, maybe they're pictures instead of icons. But I'm going to put this back. But I thought, again, it was worth mentioning that is a test I do on my pages, and I go through and I say, like, okay, what do I actually want to emphasize here? Again, that's pseudo design. You don't have to be able to put everything together in Figma like this and make it glow and all that kind of stuff. But being able to read through and say, what do I want to emphasize and why, and how does that impact what I think needs to be larger or smaller? The average designer isn't going to make decisions that way. They're making decisions from a brand perspective and a general composition perspective, but not from a conversion standpoint, not from a read it and see what you get out of it kind of perspective. So anyways, that's that section. I think I have a little bit more to mention over here. Do I not? I do not. That's everything. Okay, cool. So now I can just go through the whole page and go through. And one other thing, I realized that I specifically spoke about designing mobile first. Now the thing is with mobile first, the idea would be, I wouldn't have built it on desktop first. I would have built it on the mobile mode first. I've designed long enough that I know how to design on desktop in a way that's mobile first. And so what I mean by that is, you see how this picture really should have those things. You see how this picture, okay, so you see how this picture is not very long. It's more of a square picture. And what I mean by that is, like, this, if this were a picture or some sort of an infographic or something like that, that is very long, that's its shape, that would not work on a mobile page. It's just going to get super stretched and super flat and be sideways. So with that, I actually had to totally restructure my my logos, right? That one was not too bad. But if I was doing that with pictures or something else, that'd be bad. But you notice almost everything here sticks to this like one column layout, and nothing's too wild or too tall or anything like that. So I know that works really well on mobile. But if you don't have that experience, it's probably wiser to start on mobile and reverse engineer it. I just grew up in an age where mobile wasn't the dominant way that people consume stuff, and so I still prefer the design of a desktop page. It just is what it is. But in order to design that way, I've had to let go of things that are wider, which allows me to more or less design mobile first the first time through. Anyways, that being said, let's go through here. So let me address maybe mobile first, just as a style really fast. Maybe I should go through there first. And you see most of those. Yeah, one other thing that's worth mentioning is that these quotes and these columns, like, they're very standalone. So these can very easily go into a one column system and work really well. Same thing with two columns, is that very easily just gets dragged over. Typically, the way that the structure would end up going is the image almost always structures right underneath the title and goes before the body paragraph. But yeah, other than that, it's pretty easy. There we go. Let's just go through the whole page. I'm going to explain some of my copy decisions and some of my design decisions and see how we do. Okay, so first things first, I had a totally different vibe I was going for with a top before. It was dark, and it was Aaron over here in front of a brick wall, and I just decided that I wasn't going to head in that direction, because when you go to his website, that's what it's like. And I was like, okay, actually he already has a brand, right? And you can see the rest of his page is maybe not the highest styling ever, but that top part is very nice, and it feels pretty well branded. Kind of got this like glassy feel almost to it. And then we do have this nice line there, or the line of places you've seen him. All right, so because of that, thought, hey, let's go ahead and keep that alive. But one thing that he did that I thought he should really call more attention to is he has the 6 million plus YouTube subscriber, 1 billion views. Hey, let's use that, but let's really draw some eyeballs to that and add a little bit of visual dimension. So generally, I just was like, all right, let's highlight it. Let's put it over here. But then I said, the whole phrase is level up your life. I want to tie that in visually. And so next to those, I also have things going up. So you just see, hey, here's this guy. He's happy. He's sitting there. Things are going up. So again, this is how design reinforces your copy. All right. Level up your life. Your wardrobe is the only thing between you and the success you dream of. Many guys think that fashion is stuffy and unoriginal, but it doesn't have to be. We want to help you. And I cut that down as well. I don't know. I must have done that before I got off yesterday. Okay, then we have our stats there, and then we start with don't be this guy. AI generated image. I thought about this quite a bit, but it may not be Aaron's style to do that kind of provocative, but I thought it was a really good hook for this audience. So, if you were working with a client like this, I'm not actually working with Aaron. This is not his page. It is what it is, but that may not be an angle he wants to go off of. Like I said earlier, he generally likes to lift people up, not put them down. And so, we might switch that, because I think it's a really good angle, to something like, don't make this mistake. Because don't be this guy is a little bit more insulting to him personally. But if you say, don't make this mistake, and you say, I ran into a young man the other day who's rushing off to pitch to investors. His business idea was great, but his outfit, not so much. That is a tale of warning, not a personal dig. So I think I would probably make that tweak. talking about working with a client. But all things considered, this would be a good page on its own, right? I ran into a young man the other day who was rushing off to pitch investors. His business idea was great, but his outfit, not so much. Society likes to tell us that how you dress doesn't matter. It's what's on the inside that counts. Appearances are superficial. Rich people wear t-shirts and jeans. And if you're Mark Zuckerberg, go ahead and wear whatever you want. But if you're someone who is still trying to level up your life, the world is full of enough man children. It's time to stop dressing like a boy and start dressing like a grown-up man. And those lines, I think I almost verbatim took them from his website. So if you're working for a client, you're free to do that. If you're working for a competitor, you are not free to do that. So, one other thing I thought would be fair to mention here is I had this, if you don't take yourself seriously, no one else will. And I put that in the emphasize section. And that is fair. And I think as far as reading through, you would get the same vibe, kind of where you say, level up your life. Don't be this guy. People are talking about these things that aren't true. And you say, if you don't take yourself seriously, no one else will. That works from the formatting, bold only pass through. But I didn't think it was that powerful. And I thought, you know what? I'd like to move that down and go to an appeal for authority, and say, clothes make the man, Mark Twain. Maybe that's Aaron's vibe. Maybe that's not Aaron's vibe. That's definitely my vibe, as I like to quote old dead writers. But nevertheless, I thought that was a more powerful thing to tap on. Shakespeare said that same line. That line specifically has been spoken by several big thinkers throughout history. So because of that, I'm familiar with that line. It feels really important to me. But maybe I'm writing too much for myself there. I would probably split test that one. All right. And when I say split test that one, there's two ways I would split test that. Sorry, you're just getting all sorts of advice here today. If I were running ads to this landing page, I would try, and this is for someone with a high budget, I would make a display image, just a basic image ad. That's one says clothes make the man, and one that says, if you don't take yourself seriously, no one else will. And I'd run that because that's going to be the first thing people see. I would make the design exactly the same. And I'd just say, what are people responding more to? And that would be my answer. That would be the one I'd include here. I could split test it on the page, but it's not at the very top of the page, so it's unlikely to impact it as much. It's not at the very bottom of the page with a call to action, and so it's probably not going to impact it quite as much. It's just something in the middle, and it's like you are never going to put enough volume through this. You won't want to put enough volume through this that you're going to want to test it this way. Something I'll talk about tomorrow is the 80-20 rule of testing, which is that you're going to change this top section 80% of the time after you make this whole page. The other 20% of the time can be spent on like wild, crazy kind of changes, and then changes to the rest of the body of your page. But I warn against that a little bit, or I warn against doing a lot of changes further down, specifically because the biggest impact of your page is going to come from here. 80% of the results are coming from up here, and the other 20% of the results are coming from the rest. And so make changes to the biggest part so you get the biggest results. So the reason why I said that is I'd love to figure out exactly what people are going for, what's resonating with them. So I would test this in an ad, or I know Hormozy talks about this. It's just not my strategy. I'm a paid ads guy. He tests hooks on Twitter before he runs the ad. So if you do have a large enough Twitter following that you can do that, go ahead and test your hooks that way. All right, clothes make the man, Mark Twain. If you don't take yourself seriously, no one else will. Businessmen don't take you seriously and you stay broke. Men don't take you seriously and don't respect you. Women don't take you seriously and turn you down. You know what I'm saying is true. You could cling to your scruffy graphic tee, or you can finally stop feeling ignored, anxious, and passed over. When you level up your wardrobe, you're investing in yourself, your future, and your happiness. You are saying yes to being seen and actually becoming more successful, proud, and powerful. My goal is simple. I want you to always wear an outfit that makes you feel like you're crushing it. I originally made a rectangle for this. I could have just put a picture in. Again, this isn't supposed to be a design heavy course, but when I'm talking about making a sales letter feel modern, just putting in pictures and not adding, curved edges, borders, backgrounds, some sort of a thing in there. I have things that are unframed pictures, so they look like they're just kind of a part of the background. Those feel a lot better. But if I were to just put a picture of alpha and write a quote under it, it would look way older. So again, my goal, as I'm using this older tactic that is really effective, but people kind of mistrust, is I really have to dress it up as being more and more modern in order for people to trust it more. All right, which is why I've made it my mission to help guys like you since 2008, but I can't be everywhere. I can't give each and every one of you personal styling. Honestly, that's weighed on me a lot because style is supposed to be personal, not something you just copy and paste. But now I can finally help you in a way I never could before. The power of AI. I dreamed of the day where I could finally, and one thing is this was super long in terms of copy. And so I put in lots of pictures to really break it up quite a bit. And the other thing is you'll notice everything is glowing here. So I even changed my highlight structure to just kind of be a glowing word. And so it sticks out in a different way. I kind of like it. It feels less like, obviously you have to read these lines, and more just like it calls to you, which is kind of fun. All right. I dreamed of a day where I can finally help every guy who wants to be better. The guys who want full control of themselves, their future, and their domain. The guys who want to make something of themselves and achieve something great. The guys who want a hot wife, a big house, 3 to 6 beautiful children, bulging muscles, and yeah, a killer wardrobe. Meet Style Sphere. That wasn't in there before, that bolded text, but I felt like it was super important. You were building up the story, and there needed to be a conclusion at the end. What's that call to action? What's that point you had to make? Meet Style Sphere. So I capped that mountain with Meet Style Sphere. Now we're going to explain what it is. Style Sphere, and this could be a much better UI, user interface. I just got ChatGPT to generate it. Realistically, if I were actually putting this together for a client, I would not use fake images in my pictures, right? But I was trying to cut corners because I already put like 20 hours into this page that I shouldn't have. But I want to give you guys something great. I want you to really learn from this. So I hope that you're really getting something out of this. And like I said, compared to some of the emails, which I walked away from the kombucha email the other day, and I was like, I know I could make a better looking email than this. But you know what? It's about copy. It's not about emails. Here we are. This is what I do. I do sales letters and sales pages. So I've got to go all in on this. One, it's where I can help you most. And two, it's me putting my name on something that I do. I don't want to put out something that was lackluster here. And I hope you take that same energy into your career. All right. Style Sphere is the world's first AI-powered personal styling app that gives you style recommendations based on your personal preferences, lifestyle, and body type. Here's how it works. All you have to do is upload some pictures of yourself, like a couple pictures on Pinterest, and answer a few questions. Then Style Sphere gives you a personalized recommendation. And this is a GIF that I made in ChatGPT where I basically made it generate it for me. And I can't like super watch the GIF, but what I end up choosing, if it'll let me navigate it, you can see that I type in, I put in the picture, and it generates the recommendations, and then I ask for something, and it actually spits out shopping recommendations, which is what it's purported to do, right? It's just not going to show that here. I'd have to better mock up the page and make like a prototype, but that wasn't the purpose of this. So anyways, that's the best I could do in this situation without creating basically a whole UI that was functional and could actually kind of show this off. And that was not the purpose of this page. But if I were making something for Aaron, I would do that. So anyways, we scanned thousands of hours of my best videos, tips, and outfits I've created over the years and use it to build an AI version of me. But unlike other AI platforms, it doesn't just start spitting out advice. The key here is the human element. And once it makes a recommendation, it's still up to you to pick something It's still up to you to pick something you like to create your personal style. Little wordy. I'd probably fix that. The human element. Why did I emphasize that one? That one I think is a buyer decision question, which is what is AI? And I took a lot of that out. It's like, is AI kind of lame? The human element thing I thought was really, really significant because AI feels so bland most of the time, right? It feels so uninspired. So adding in like you are actually doing this, one, that's a buyer decision question about AI, but two, it's also like these people probably want to have a greater hand. They want to feel like they pick something out. And so I think that would be important in designing the app, but also in the messaging. And once it makes its recommendation, it's still up to you to pick something that you like to create. My goodness. Do I need glasses? What's happening to me? Okay, let's try this. Good Lord. Their jumps and zooms are insane. The difference is that StyleSphere can save you thousands of dollars and save you. The human element, once it makes its recommendation, it's still up to you to pick something that you like to create your personal style. The difference is that StyleSphere can save you thousands of dollars and save you hundreds of hours by browsing and buying. It quickly brings the best outfit option straight to you for your final approval. And unlike other cheesy quiz-based styling platforms, this isn't about forcing you to look preppy or unloading our old unsold backroom stock on you. In fact, we don't charge you for outfits at all. Just tell StyleSphere your budget and it will automatically send you links for you to check out the perfect piece at the perfect price. And as you continue to use it, StyleSphere gets better and better. It grows as you do and constantly pushes you not to be somebody else, but to be one level better than you were yesterday. Why? Because studies show, and I'd add images in here, any of those spots that I stumbled over, I would consider changing. The reason why I'm not going to is because if I significantly change this, I guess it's not a problem. If I hit there, you see that my highlighting gets messed up because of the way that I built it. But anyways, I'll let it go. Studies show 41.2% of employers say employees who dress better are promoted more often and earlier. If I stuck with this, I might just simply bold italics that. Right. Just to have something stick out a little bit more. 41.2 are promoted more often. Successful, intelligent, attractive. I do the same thing here, just to make it stick out. But again, I think that the image is going to do a lot of the lifting there. Okay. There we go. All right. Studies show 66.3% of men feel dressing well boosts confidence, makes them feel more successful, intelligent, and attractive. And 69.7% of women perceive well-dressed men as sexier, smarter, more successful, more popular, and better relationship material. All right. Good enough isn't good enough. If you're ready to impress spicy senoritas or one particular spicy senorita, stop settling for good enough. You've always had big dreams of being the man, but somewhere along the way you gave up on all of that. But no longer. Let's reclaim that dream together. And this is the because. Nah. Don't keep it. The dream together. And this is the best time ever to get started because the first 100 subscribers get StyleSphere for 20% off. 20% of its future price, not 20% off, 20% of the total price, all in exchange for being loyal subscribers and helping us work out the kinks in the app. Your personal AI stylist, StyleSphere. You see, I moved that from this blocking was just not working. It was too chaotic. I needed more text. I needed it to not be enclosed. So I pulled it out. Ta-da, there we go. When you sign up today, your personal AI stylist, StyleSphere, when you sign up today, we're giving longtime subscribers access to StyleSphere, your AI stylist that helps you create a personal style while staying under budget, just $12 a month. Discover my personal style. Plus, when you sign up today, you'll unlock, 2 of these are real. It kind of got close to what Aaron Marino looks like, but didn't. It got really close to what Ramit Sethi looks like, and nailed the Alpha M on the wall. But anyways, my Fit personal style guide, a 12-week workout plan, to help you achieve the body of your dreams, increase your energy levels, and as an added bonus, fill in your new wardrobe better than ever. My Best in the Business course walks you through not just how to dress for success, but how to carry yourself at work, ask for a raise, and make more money, all with New York Times bestselling author Ramit Sethi, author of I Will Teach You to Be Rich, and 10 entries for a $2,000 shopping spree. I'll fly you out for a weekend in Chicago. We'll catch a game, eat good food, and hook you up with an unbeatable wardrobe for free. Discover my personal style. People are loving StyleSphere. I did not really bother designing this out a little bit more and adding pictures and everything. Maybe I'd end up changing the color of one and making one dimmer. It just wasn't that important of a section. It's all the same quote, even though I pulled a bunch of different options. They're all AI generated. But I figured you get what a testimonial section looks like. The blocking is good enough. And then we get to become the alpha with StyleSphere, discover my personal style. And I got a picture of Aaron with a phone and put the actual thing on there. So there we go. We're good to go. Obviously in real life, having some some pictures specifically for this would be better, probably with a more modern phone, but it is what it is. I worked with what I had because, again, I didn't actually do this for Aaron. But again, I'd like to just draw attention to the fact that all of this works in this mobile view because I didn't do anything that was crazy long or anything, or like 6 columns wide. So it naturally worked with the same single column on a phone. Easy peasy. Cool. There we go. All right. Now back to the main thing. And I have 2 minutes before the rest of the family wakes up. What I'm going to do tomorrow is we're going to talk about the sales page and all the sales pages that we didn't talk about today. Today we focused on the sales letter. Tomorrow we're going to focus on all the different types of sales pages that we didn't hit today. I even added one here that I think I didn't have the other day, which is the bottom of funnel landing page. And what does that mean? That's like people who are almost ready to buy and they're thinking more logically. This is the computer buyer who's like, how fast is that graphics card? Like that's specifically what they're interested in at this point. All right. So if we're writing that sort of page, how would we do it? All right. So we're going to go through it, but I'm going to reconvert this page that I made and I'm just going to stick to desktop version. And I'm going to do that. I'm going to reimagine it as a squeeze page, an e-commerce page, as a shorter sales page, as a bottom of funnel landing page, as a quiz funnel, as a bridge page, and as an advertorial. We'll get into all that tomorrow. It should be very exciting. I hope you learn a lot. And we're getting towards the end of this, guys. I'm getting really excited. So we have an amount of slides yesterday. We're just going to talk about the different options for pages. We're going to talk about the Pareto principle, which, hey, we talked about today, which 80% of your testing should be done on top. 20% of your testing should be done on bottom because only 20% of your length is up here and 80% of the results are coming from up here and 80% of the length is here. So that's lots of changing for 20% of the results. So don't do that. Again, more things that we talked about because I just give random advice throughout that isn't necessarily where it was scheduled to be mentioned. Roya, the rule of one reader, idea, offer, action. How to edit it, how to cut it out, make it more proven and make it less boring, swappy, so what, improve it. And then we're going to read some great examples of different kinds of pages and we'll build our own. So tomorrow, I think we'll be a little bit short on the presentation. I'm actually going to attempt it before my family wakes up. But if not, it is what it is. The big benefit tomorrow is going to be reimagining this page in several different ways. So, and going through our examples. So thank you very much. We should be shorter on the non-demo side tomorrow. Thank you very much. And, I'll see you in the next one.